Hey everybody, Happy New Year! Dylan Bowman here from Freetrail, and in the first 10 days of 2024, we're going to be rolling out our Trail Runner of the Year award. This is our favorite time of year to celebrate all the great athletes and performances that made 2023 a year to remember in trail running, and this year we're super happy to have partnered with Ketone IQ to help bring the award to life. Make sure you check this product out, super cutting edge, futuristic endurance sport nutrition product, ketone supplement guaranteed to give you better focus and help you rip out on the trails. We have exclusive discount code that you can take advantage of here, hvmn.com/freetrail30. That link is also in the description here on YouTube. Enjoy these interviews with some of the best athletes in the world, and thanks for helping us celebrate 2023.
Joining me now, our 2023 Trail Runners of the Year. In a surprise to nobody, Courtney Dauwalter, Jim Walmsley. Welcome back to the show, you two. Happy holidays.
Thank you. Happy holidays.
Hey, thanks. Happy holidays.
And you guys are calling in from your respective corners of the American West right now. Jim, it's great to have you back in the United States of America. Maybe Courtney, starting with you, I was kind of surprised to see you in first place after your 98th place finish at Havalina. What happened at Havalina there? And no, in all seriousness, I'd love for you to just start by talking about that awesome run with your mom at Havalina. What was it like? What were some of the highs and lows out there?
Ended the year with 100K with my mom in the desert. Couldn't have scripted it better. It was such the perfect way to kind of finish off all of the running miles for the year. She made it. We did it. We got to that finish line together, and it was cool to ride the ultra roller coaster with her. She's hooked now, so watch out, start lines. We'll be finding another one soon.
Yeah, probably going for a bunch of age group records. I loved how you posted that she's 66 and she just started, and here she is clipping off 100K. It's never too late to start something in life, and I'm sure we'll all be in that place at some point in the future as we pick up golfing or tennis or knitting or something like that. So what a great
never too late, and such a cool sport to share with people.
Jim, how are you feeling closing out another phenomenal trail running season, living in France, now being back for the holidays and enjoying a little bit of time stateside in general? How are you feeling about the season?
Yeah, I mean, I've kind of shut things down since the end of September. I haven't done too much, so it's been nice. I'm ready to kind of get going, and I'm part of the move of coming back to the US earlier is trying to race a little earlier next year. So on some dry year, I'll start running soon.
Wow. Well, maybe at the end of the conversation, you might be able to tease what some of those goals are. But first, let's continue our retrospective of the year. Courtney, what an insane season. I'd love to hear you talk about the obvious thing, right? The triple. It'll never happen again in all likelihood. And I'm sure, there's been some time to now reflect on it. But if there's any, I think just like your body is, I'm sure, taken a ton of abuse. So how you're feeling physically and mentally after such an incredible summer of racing. And that was obviously, after you had already done Bandera and Transgran Canaria. How are you feeling in general, physically and mentally after such a huge season?
Now I feel good and excited to get going again, but it took a lot of months. And luckily I took those and could take them, and definitely have pumped the brakes and gone into like full chill mode for quite a while now. But my body and brain are feeling like back up to refilled in the tank and excited to go again. So I think it's all great signs that, the rest was necessary, and now it's ready to go again.
And we were just talking about how we are both going to be unplugging and relaxing even more here during the holiday season. To what extent was the triple on your mind at the beginning of 2023, Courtney? And how do you go about compartmentalizing when you are approaching those three iconic races to make sure you give the respect that each of them deserve while also keeping in mind this greater vision?
The triple was a seed planted for sure. Since, I mean, probably many years, truthfully, but since the spring, it definitely was in there as like a possibility. But it was important to me to take the double just as it was initially, because that was the real focus and the real intrigue of like 3 weeks apart is crazy feeling. And I wanted to experience that as fully as possible. But like my Solomon team manager was reminding me that I had told him in the spring, we were talking about the summer and doing this Western States Hardrock double. And after we finished talking about it, I like really quietly said, and maybe UTMB. And I hadn't really remembered that I had like already dropped that idea vocally to him. But apparently it was there pretty strongly in the spring. I didn't have entry to UTMB though, so I knew that I had to just cross the Western States Bridge first in order to even see if UTMB could be part of the summer.
It's so amazing because even to cross the Western States Bridge, the Bandera Bridge had to get crossed first. So it just is incredible how all those dominoes fell in what felt like such a flawless manner. I'm sure there's things that didn't go perfectly, but for all of our outside perspective, it was one of the most inspiring things of all time and certainly one of the greatest seasons of all time. Jim, one of the things you and I have talked about a bunch and that makes your story so fun is that it always takes you a few tries to get something perfectly right. And, you know, obviously UTMB was a white whale for you for a long time. I'm wondering, like in the aftermath, now that you have finally checked that off the list, so to speak, you know, gotten a victory there in such a dramatic and storybook way, is there a come down afterwards, or is it like pure euphoria? What's the mix of emotions there after finally achieving that dream?
I would say it's still feels like a bit of a weight lifted, because it's been a pretty long-term goal, and it feels like something's just always happened, and I've never quite lined up feeling like I've had my best day there. And still, like, this year came with struggles through the race too. Like, there were low moments, so it feels really rewarding. And kind of as I set goals going forward, like, you try to stay motivated and just to essentially try to reframe and try to envision going back and trying to do it again is kind of where I think the mental energy starts focusing now. It's a lot more motivating to focus on the future than kind of reflect in the past.
Yeah. I also would love to hear you talk about, I mean, one of the most powerful moments of the season in my mind was at the finish line of UTMB when the announcer understandably asked you, what's it like to be the first American male to win the race? And I remember your response was something to the effect of, you know, the American women have paved the way and basically, you know, you're standing on their shoulders. Maybe expand on that a little bit. And, you know, any inspiration you drew from people like Courtney and others that contributed to your success at UTMB?
Yeah. I mean, you go back to Rory Brazio, Nikki Kimball, Courtney, like, has won it multiple times, and American women have continually won it multiple times. So even still, that is already a path paved. But they've all done it growing up in the same places in the same country and found a way to do it. Perhaps, like, I kind of relate most to maybe Katie Scheide's win there is like fully Euro, going to France and going another step further to kind of embrace that French different culture. It's definitely a different culture, and just seeing that there are differences and trying to that and use it as a learning curve that I can use to just do better at the race. But yeah, it's already been proven that Americans can do it and can replicate it. And so many women have done it. Of like, yeah, the big question has always been like, well, why haven't any men figured it out? And I mean, it also kind of goes to, been some really good French men and Spanish men that have kind of hogged the top of the podium for us a bit. But yeah, I'm really excited to kind of feel like I've joined the American club on the top step of UTMB. But it's quite a crowded top step on the American side when you count all of the American women victories there.
Yeah, I just loved how, you immediately took that storyline and sort of put it as a footnote, right? And it had always been such a storyline, and I thought you handled it in such a classy and professional way. I'd love for you to both talk about or expand on what Jim just said, and just like, searching for motivation. You guys have both achieved so much, and now, looking forward, you have to set more goals, right? And so maybe, Courtney, we can start with you, just sort of like what you listen to internally, and what your process is for goal setting for, after you achieve these amazing things.
Yeah, similar to Jim, I'm very much an eyes forward person. So there isn't much dwelling on what has happened in the past. It's mostly trying to accumulate like learnings and steps to keep on looking forward at new things, or look at the same things in new ways. So when I'm thinking of a season or things I want to try, it's really driven by like what fires me up the most and what sounds like a cool challenge, and then like what sounds a little bit too hard. Those are the ones I want to go after.
Jim, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, I can look to Courtney's season this year of just yeah, the sky's the limit when you look at like a triple. Well, it's not even a triple. It's like five races from January. It's just pretty incredible. So, yeah, it's intimidating because it feels really daunting to try to throw more on the schedule sometimes, and even just the lack of confidence that it's possible that you can get through it. So, yeah, looking forward to and looking up to people like Courtney kind of helps me dream of even a tougher schedule and try going again. But yeah, I think it's constantly evolving how you kind of need to keep motivated and keep shooting for the big races.
Courtney, how cool is that? Even the great Jim Walmsley, you're inspiring him. Maybe throw some kudos back to Jim. Anything about Jim, his style, and what he's achieved in his career that has inspired you in your journey?
I am always rooting for Jim, and am constantly amazed by what he throws down and how he can perform on the biggest stages in the fastest of ways. So I actually found out, Jim, that you won UTMB when I was at the last crude aid station, dying, feeling like there's no way I'm getting to the finish line. Kevin told me Jim won and Zach got second. And that's like for sure a boost to hear that some buddies, had a great day out there and are already at the finish line, hopefully sipping a beer or something. So I was thinking of you guys a lot in my last section, where I was just sort of hoping my legs would keep moving and trying to follow suit and get there. So thank you for all you do. And thanks for, leading the charge in so many ways.
Wow, that is so cool. And now remembering the great moment between Jim and Francois at that last aid station. I wish they captured Kevin telling you, breaking the news. Also, that would go down in trail running history and belong in the Trail Running Hall of Fame as just a single moment of time. So we can start winding down, guys, but I'd love to hear, I'm sure, all your fans would love to hear, how you're thinking about next season. Obviously, don't feel like you need to reveal too much if you haven't figured things out. But, we were just talking about goal setting. You're just coming off great seasons. You've both been recognized as the Trail Runners of the Year. What does the path forward look like, to the extent you can reveal anything? Courtney, we can start with you.
Really the only thing I have set in stone right now is Hardrock in July. I'm excited to give that one more go and see see about that loop in the mountains. As far as like the build into it or what I've got planned for the rest of the summer, there's a lot of ideas in the air. But one of them lingering for sure is just revisiting that Colorado Trail at some point. And we'll see if it's this year, but that one is like been on my mind a lot.
There was a lot of action on the CT this summer. I was wondering if you were monitoring any of that stuff. So. Have you been also monitoring my Grim Reaper memes, Courtney? Because there's also a certain 100-mile race in your backyard. You don't need to say anything or, add a timeline to it. But wondering if, Leadville holds any interest for you in the future.
Leadville definitely holds a lot of interest for me. Just living there and thinking of walking to a start line from my own bed sounds fantastic. And then going out on trails I run pretty frequently would be a cool 100 to experience.
Fantastic. Jim, any goals for next year or further off in the future you care to reveal?
Yeah. Well, I really admire like bringing up the CT thing because I think one of the things that Courtney does so well is, and how I frame it is, you're so great at stretching your elasticity and like the duration that you challenge yourself. I think I feel that's a weakness in myself, and it's intimidating. So I love that you're just full into that and just really like double down on the ultra side of ultra running. It's really great. I don't have one of those on my schedule again this year, but I need to find that sooner or later because I think that's how I can progress. I'm looking at following, I guess, again, Courtney's steps a little bit and going to Trans Gran Canaria in February. I think that's a new early season race for me in a place that I'm looking to challenge myself, and then looking to take a little bit of a spring reset in March, spring break a little bit, and then just refocus for Western States. And that's kind of where the cliffhanger is at my schedule at this moment is probably Trans Gran Canaria in February and Western States in June.
Amazing.
I'm so pumped for you to do Trans Gran Canaria.
Yeah, I need to study it a bit more.
It's a great race. It'll be a good race for you too. It's a great mix between fast and slow. Well, guys, we can wind down here. I've been asking everybody the same closing question, and that is just to give shine or a shout out to somebody on your team who doesn't get enough credit, who contributes in some way to your success. And maybe for the purposes of this, because everybody knows about Kevin and Jess, shout out somebody else.
Oh, I mean, I had such a stellar team all summer. I asked a lot of people for crewing and had some great pacers out at Hardrock. Yeah, I think I'm feeling super thankful for that whole crew. It's the Terranovas, the Stanleys, the Ambroses, and all they do to like help us get to those finish lines together.
That's a heck of like a Leadville local contingent there, isn't it?
It sure is. Yeah.
What a great team. Jim, how about you?
Yeah, it's kind of where the deeper crew comes in and keeps the whole team positive and kind of even at times crew to the crew or stepping in where it's needed and helping me at the front of some of the races. But I would say kind of three French guys that pop out to, well, then there's Oliver Resch. But Christophe Aubenet out in Annecy with Hoka, and Bastien Perez, he's kind of Jess's right-hand man and helps in so many ways, and I'm getting to collaborate a bit with him this year, which is really exciting. And Vincent Bouillard, who's actually found his entry into UTMB for next year, which is really cool to see him develop into that. And I would say those three French guys plus Aresh have been, I'm missing being home in Aresh right now and seeing them ski. But knowing that Francois and Simone Gosselin will be coming to the US this year. So we'll have a little Aresh posse out at Hardrock, and I can't wait to be a super fan out at Hardrock this year, just like the old days.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I'm glad you shouted out Vincent. He was the Gorge 100K champ last year.
Yeah.
Employee of Hoka, who also happens to be a phenomenal athlete. And yeah, it will be great to have that French exposure at Hardrock. I'll be at the Chapman Aid Station, so I'll be able to see Courtney come through on the Hardrock journey once again come July. To both of you, thank you so much for being so inspiring, for being such great public representatives for our sport, and for making the time here at the end of the year. Congratulations on Trail Runner of the Year. I hope you guys have a great holiday.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Steve.